for the hardest-hitting show in talk radio. The true progressive voice since 2012. This is Southpaws.
And welcome to Southpaws on the Pacifica Radio Network. We are the leaders of the revolution. My name is Darren Gibson, and I'm your co-host.
And yes, I am Jack Prince, your fellow co-host.
Well, Jack, we've got quite a few topics to discuss today, including the latest on the General Motors strike.
Yep.
We're going to talk about Saudi Arabia and Yemen, and why a Yemeni attack on Saudi oil fields means that we need to go to war with Iran. I don't understand that whatsoever.
Yeah, those dots aren't lined up at all.
No, so we'll try and decipher that in just a minute or two. Before we continue, we have a couple reminders. You can follow us on social media by going to facebook.com/Southpaws Radio Show. You can follow us on Twitter at Southpaws Radio. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/Southpaws Radio. And that helps to pay the bills around here. You'll get exclusive content you won't hear anywhere else. And speaking of hearing us, you can always listen to us anytime you like at Spreaker.com. Do a search for Southpaws there. You can also find us at the iTunes store under podcasts. Just search for Southpaws and look for our logo, and you've found us at that point. And, of course, you can listen to us on Pacifica Radio all across the country, including KCEI-FM in Taos, New Mexico, KZGM Kabul, Missouri, and on Global Community Radio Channel 1 every Monday night at 9 p.m. We're on right after Democracy Now!, so make sure you check us out there as well.
And, Darren, I'm going to make one more promise. I'll be in Taos, New Mexico at some point. Out in the state that just declared free tuition to all incoming freshmen to the universities.
Oh, no kidding.
It's not completely sealed yet. But I'm going to have breakfast at Taos and then go out and turn the radio on. I think it's 10 o'clock in the morning, did you say?
I think they're on Saturday at 3 in the afternoon.
3 in the afternoon. Okay,
yeah.
I'll have lunch, and then 3 o'clock I'm going to listen to the voices coming from Michigan. Would love to do it. It's a beautiful city. Taos is a picturesque city up in the mountains.
I have never been there. One of the founders of Burger Chef lived in Taos, New Mexico for a while. After he left Burger Chef, he was involved in private airplanes for a while. And I don't remember all the details of it, but I know that he did die in Taos, New Mexico.
Well, New Mexico, not that we're way off the script or anything here, is considered by Georgia O'Keeffe, the famous painter who had her studio in New Mexico, as the best, and I don't understand this, color combination, soil, the whole thing, for scenery. And,
oh, yeah.
She wasn't a bad artist.
It's beautiful out there.
You had to put some stock in what she had to say.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we hope you can put some stock into what we're going to be talking about right now. And I want to mention this right off the bat. So apparently the Houthis in Yemen have attacked Saudi oil fields with drones. They have taken responsibility for this.
Yes, they have.
But what I don't understand is, why does that mean that the United States needs to go to war with Iran?
Well, Bernie came out unequivocally and said there's no reason that we have to go and fight Saudi Arabia's war.
And the thing is, Saudi Arabia is sticking their nose in a civil war in Yemen that they shouldn't be sticking their nose in.
Listen, you got the three ugly sisters. They all got their feet in the same pool of water here. You got Israel, who has one enemy on that part of the world, and you know who it is. And then you've got Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia and Iran have been pulling and fighting against each other. That's why the whole Yemen conflict exists. And then you got the United States, where you got ideologues like Pompeo, like a volcano erupting at the mouth with warmongering, who, by the way, has been put on record, I've seen the quotes, total hatred for the religion of Islam. And for him to shake his sword has nothing to do with Saudi Arabia. He's been frothing at the mouth to go after Iran for months. And he's the guy that opened the door up for the attack. And then the idiot from South Carolina, Lindsey Graham, called for the next day after Pompeo's assertions that there'd be a full frontal attack without delay against Iran. Now, some people are stupid enough to think that Trump is a buffer to these hawks. I've seen it posted.
Trump is a puppet to these war hawks.
Yeah. If you think the hawks won't win out, or aren't winning out now, and leading to ultimate confrontation. And by the way, if you think Iraq was a mess, no comparison between the two. None whatsoever.
No.
We're teetering on the edge of absolute chaos militarily, and these ideologues are leading us down the road, Darren, this morning. Where is America's sense of the truth? Did they forget Colin Powell's bold-faced lies one after another?
Their sense of truth is that they're following whatever the mainstream corporate media says, and they're not doing a little digging. Once again, if you need to know if the steak is well done or if it's rare, you need to cut into it. You can't just look at it from the outside. You need to cut into the meat. And this is what we're doing for you, folks. I have this. This is from Financial Times, of all places. This is Simeon Kerr reporting in Dubai. I believe this is an opinion piece, but I'm not sure. Let me just read this here. This is dated September 18th. The audacious strike on the heart of Saudi Arabia's oil industry at the weekend, claimed as a drone attack by Yemen's rebel Houthis, has raised questions about Riyadh's strategy in its neighbor's civil war. The Saudi intervention, which began in 2015 in an operation known as Decisive Storm, marked the rise of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, then a newly appointed defense minister, as an assertive actor on the regional stage. But almost 5 years on, the deadlocked conflict has dragged the kingdom deeper into dispute with Iran. Riyadh assembled its military coalition at the request of Yemen's ousted leader to halt the Houthis' sweeping assault, fearing that the militia, a long-standing Saudi foe with links to Iran, would consolidate control over the entire country. Well, let me just stop there for a second. Do we have proof that they've got links with Iran? You're shaking your head. That doesn't translate well on the microphone. Oh.
My head was going horizontally.
Yeah. And it's I don't know. Everybody just believes what they want to believe instead of actually digging for the truth.
Wasn't there a song like that?
Yeah, I'm sure there was.
Simon Garfunkel. No, the thing is that the connection to the oil fields, as you said before the show started, is the root of all evil, and we have been prostate to Saudi Arabia prior to Trump, and now he's on his knees in front of them.
Oh, yeah.
And they're expecting, and I've seen people on Facebook say, not one red drop of American blood protecting Saudi oil fields. Ain't going to happen.
Let me continue the story here. Beyond restoring the government of its exiled ally, President Abd Rabbu Mansur Hadi, Saudi Arabia's objective was to remove the threat of ballistic missile attacks being fired into Saudi Arabia from the Houthis' northern Yemeni heartlands. Saturday's attack revealed the limits of Saudi Arabia's reach. The UAE, part of the original Saudi-led coalition, has drawn down its military presence in Yemen, but still backs southern secessionist forces that have since turned on the Saudi-backed Yemeni government forces, their former allies, in vicious fighting across the increasingly chaotic south. Now, we've talked about Yemen on this show before over the years. They have been at war with each other for years and years and years. So this is nothing new. This is a case of everybody needs to keep their nose out of everybody else's business. Stop doing regime change. Doesn't work. It never has. Peter Salisbury, senior Yemen analyst at the International Crisis Group, said, quote, "Wishful thinking isn't a substitute for strategy. The war began with the assumption that a successful rebel group that has seized the capital and was working with a significant chunk of the pre-war military could be uprooted by airstrikes and payoffs to their rivals. That didn't work." End of quote. Saudi officials have blamed Iran for providing the rebels with the drone and missile technology that allowed them to strike deep into Saudi territory. Airstrikes have now struck at the heart of the Saudi economy, targeting the kingdom's vital Abaqi oil processing facility.
Wait a minute. They're having a problem with Iran supplying the Houthis.
Yeah.
Has anybody looked at the ledger of the billions and billions of dollars that we have supplied Saudi Arabia with, of which those weapons have been putting a genocide on the face of Yemen, as you said, for years?
Yeah.
And there have been progressive calling for the end of that slaughter, starvation. It's hideous. And they dare worry about anybody supplying the rebels.
Yeah.
The Houthis. It's incredible.
Well,
it's incredible.
It's hypocrisy at its greatest, Jack.
It definitely is.
Riyadh has said that initial investigations showed that while Iranian weaponry was used in the attack that shut down half the kingdom's oil production, it did not originate in Yemen. U.S. officials have also reportedly said the strike originated in Iran. Tehran denies the allegations. No, the Houthis have said, we did this.
Yeah, it took claim right away.
Yeah. And Japan, you were saying before we went on the air today, Japan has told us, you need to believe the Houthis.
It was even clearer than that.
Yeah.
Japan, this was from an article in Common Dreams, disputes Trump's claims, and Japan says there is no evidence Iran was behind the attack. You pull out some little piece of metal scrap and say that looks like an Iranian missile, or you take some aerial photographs that everybody said were way too high to prove anything. Remember, this is the same intelligence agency that gave us proof to go to war with Iraq, that there were weapons of mass destruction and nuclear weapons. So why would you fall for it again, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah. Didn't they say that they had photographic evidence of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq?
Well, I've got Colin's quote here. I'll share with you in a minute.
And it was all lies. All of it.
Lie. Yeah, it was.
Regional tensions have been growing since Donald Trump pulled the U.S. out of the 2015 nuclear pact signed by his predecessor, imposing stringent new sanctions on Iran that plunged its economy into recession. Saudi Arabia has backed Washington's maximum pressure campaign that seeks to reduce Iran's oil exports to zero, putting the kingdom and its Gulf allies on a collision course with the Islamic Republic. Salisbury added, quote, "This has been the policy conundrum for a while now. Without a political settlement, Yemen threatened to play a role as a trigger or to become embroiled in a wider regional conflict, in particular if a Houthi or Houthi-claimed attack was successful." End of quote. What began as a complicated civil war after the ousting of long-standing President Ali Abdullah Saleh in the wake of the 2011 Arab uprisings mutated into a regional proxy conflict fueled by Saudi Arabia and Iran. Backers of the Saudi-led coalition said the intervention was necessary to check the Houthis' military progress, which they regard as an extension of Iranian influence that would pose a threat to Gulf security, as well as the strategic waterways linking the Red Sea with the Indian Ocean via the Gulf of Aden. The Saudi air campaign in March 2015, followed by a UAE-led amphibious assault on the southern port city of Aden, managed to push Houthi forces out of Aden and back into Yemen's highlands in the north. Mohammed Al-Yahya, editor-in-chief of Saudi-owned Al Arabiya Network News English website, said, quote, "Were it not for the Arab coalition's intervention, it is more than likely that we would be seeing a fully fledged Iranian Revolutionary Guards operation based on the Gulf of Aden." End of quote. Oh, I don't know about that. Come on. This is, again, more interventionism. Haven't we proved over the decades that it doesn't work? Long term, it doesn't work. We interfered in Iran in the 40s and 50s. We installed the Shah. Do people remember the Shah of Iran?
Folks, we haven't had a legitimate kickoff to any military operation. Let's go back to the Bay of Tonkin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't go... Hell, there are people who will insist that Pearl Harbor was a reaction to the oil embargo. Nobody ties that in. False flag, ladies and gentlemen. False flag. This attack on these oil fields have not been proven, cannot be proven unequivocally. You're being pushed into war. Where the hell is the reaction from people? Were you around when they had the millions of people protesting just days before the shock and awe demonstration, fireworks demonstration on television? And now you're walking down the same path. I don't see